How is everybody doing tonight? Oh, welcome to Cocktails with Cav. We are having a great time doing these shows with our indie authors and entertainers and artists. It's just been a fun time, and I tell you, the level of support we've been getting is just it's been incredible. I tell you, we've had a great time, and if you want to support the show to help other authors, entertainers, and artists, so we can keep bringing them to you. I tell you, look, we always have our QR code up here in the screen during the live stream, and you can just scan it and that's support the show with a cheap cup of coffee. It's not even the expensive, peppermint mint lattes with your name written on the cup. The cheap gas station coffee to support the show if you'd like, and we'd really appreciate it, obviously, so we can keep bringing you great indie authors and entertainers. And heck, if you really want to go crazy and support the show, I mean, we have our merch. That's a big one if you want to go crazy, and support the show. We got all kinds of great items for you to choose from and support the show. I'm waiting on my cocktail glass, of course, so I can have have my cocktail in my official logoed glass with our guests. That'd be fantastic, But anyway, look, tonight we have a very, very special guest, and I'm really appreciative that he's come on the show. He's a businessman. He helps a lot of great indie artists and bands through his work as president of Sunset Island Music TV. And he's definitely a prolific author. And so I'd like you really to help me welcome to the stage, if you could, Michael Della Donna. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Oh, fantastic. I tell you, I'm just so glad that you were able to join us. You coming to us from nice and warm west coast of Florida.
That's it. Beautiful place. We call it paradise.
I agree. I tell you, it's how's the temp there? We finally got our first little cold snap here in New Orleans. I had to put long pants on, so.
Yeah, it got a little chilly here. I think it was down to about 80 today. So.
Oh yeah, that's
with a light jacket.
That's right. It got frosty.
There you go.
Oh golly. Well, during your introduction, I was giving the folks out there listening an idea of some of the great work you do supporting indie talent. Because as we all know, we're in a very competitive environment as indie entertainers and authors and artists, and I really got turned on to ask you as a guest on the show from looking at your website, and for Sunset Island Cafe TV, and it was just it's something that sparked my interest because I know you've helped a lot of indie bands. So I was wondering if you could maybe just hey, tell us a little about yourself and your background and how you got to this point.
Well, my background really was from Wall Street. I've taken a bunch of companies public, and then I semi-retired here to Florida from New York, and we started a little radio show, and it's over the years it's grown, and now we have the streaming channel, we have a couple of radio shows. We're in the process of buying a radio station as we speak, and so we have over 100,000 weekly listeners, and we help promote all unsigned band. Matter of fact, we've received music from 93 different countries.
Wow.
From unsigned bands. Yeah, we put on a show usually once a year, to help promote the unsigned bands. We've been in, Dallas. We've been in San Diego. Been in just north of Chicago. So we've been around the country. We did one in Manchester, England, which is really cool. That was our biggest show. We had about 8,500 people show up.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. And I tell you,
Oh
it's
yeah.
yeah, well, and I know, I believe Sunset Island Cafe TV is now streaming on Roku
Right. We're on
worldwide.
Roku. Yeah, we've been streaming on Roku. It's been doing real well. We put every band that sends us music on it, and then
Oh,
and
awesome.
also our shows, right? So we do. Uh, we're on three different. We have an FM show, an AM show, but we stream those also on our Roku. So at any time, you can go there, see a show, see a band you like. You can put in the genre you want, whether it's rock or metal or country, and listen to those bands. We've had 140 bands get signed by labels, so that's pretty cool. And so, yeah, we just looking to help promote. We never charge the bands a dime. It's all free. And we just, try to do what we can to help them out.
Oh well, and I tell you, that's fantastic because like we said, it's something we all strive in the indie world is trying to get out there and hopefully just get our names out there and get our work out there so people can see it. And that's always it's hard work. You know better than anybody, I assume.
Yeah, it is. And to be quite honest, I have no musical talent whatsoever. Right? I can't sing. I can't play an instrument. What I do real well is promote things, and I know how to market things, and so we've been very successful that way. Some of our sponsors are like Gibson Guitar, Shure Microphones. So we got some of the bigger names in the industry behind us as well. We used to actually do a show in New York City at the Gibson Theater in Manhattan. They gave us the theater for the night. We put on a show, and the winner got a week in Aruba at the Gibson recording studio.
Oh,
So, which was really cool. But then when the pandemic came, that stopped, and we never revisited it. But for about a year and a half, we were getting some of the best talent in the country coming
oh, wow! I want to go to Aruba. I'll play the kazoo. Can I sign
in.
up?
But
Send
we
you a
haven't had any,
video.
yeah, we haven't had any kazoo bands yet, but and we've had some very famous, rock stars come on as well. We do some interviews on our shows. And if you go to www.sunsetilandcafe.com, you can see we have a new top 25 every week. Some bands, I think this week we have 12 countries represented. So,
Oh, great! And I'm
like I
just
said,
showing the audience your website now.
okay.
And some of the things you were talking about, and yeah, that's fantastic. And I see you highlight videos from indie bands that send it to you, like
Right. Well, those are our top 25 bands. If you click on the top 25, you'll see our top 25 bands for the week.
okay, like I see it. Okay,
And
okay.
so, and we tally those we have a discussion amongst us in the group first, and then the ones that pass, because we're getting, anywhere from 150s. Some weeks we get 400, 500 songs in a week, and we listen to every single one of them.
Wow,
Not the
wow.
whole, all of them throughout, right? We may listen to 20, 30, 40 seconds of it. And then we pick which we think, should go on the shows. Now, like I said, every band goes on the streaming site, but the shows were a little more selective. And then they move about based on audience reaction. So, we could see, especially online, who's coming on, who's going off. So if more people come on when the band's playing, they move up the charts and vice versa. So
Oh, well, that's
it's been a lot of
phenomenal.
fun.
Definitely hats off to you on the hard work. A little cheers. I don't know what your cocktail of choice is this evening.
I'm actually having a beer tonight.
Beer works. That falls into the family. That's a
Yeah,
And I'm on my standard. Tonight's Cav cocktail is Crown and Seven. One of these days, I'm going to pick up Crown as a sponsor. I think probably that's either that or they're going to sue me for keep saying Crown every time on the show.
Yeah, well, yeah, we had a couple of liquor sponsors too. Again, that's what I do really well is get sponsorships, and I mean, I've written a couple of books on sales, right? So, and my first book was actually about my time at Stratton Oakmont, which you may or may never have heard of. But the Wolf of Wall Street movie,
Right.
So I was one of their top guys. So,
that's an interesting story. And I'll tell you, give me a second. I'll tell everybody. Since we're talking about it, look, in addition to all this great work you're doing, helping the indie bands and through Sunset Island, and you're also a prolific author. And I've pulled up your Amazon page for the audience and stuff. But please tell us about some of all this great writing you've been doing, because I know you have a lot of great books, financially based, as well as I believe you have a large detective series.
I have a detective series which was based on people I know, but it's all about murders at sporting events. So,
okay.
So they have to solve the murders at these, a football game, a baseball game, a soccer thing. So, and they do okay. They do fairly well. The first book I wrote was my autobiography, which made the top 100 on Amazon.
Really? Which one was that?
Can I have your money?
Can I have your money? Right.
So, like I say, I left the healthcare business. I was the director of food and nutrition at a major hospital in New York, and my ex-wife pushed me into becoming a broker because she worked on Wall Street. So I did, but I didn't want to take the long course, and so I went to Stratton because they said I could become a broker in 3 months, and I actually was pretty good. And so I was one of the top guys. I left. I actually went to Smith Barney, a legitimate firm. Then I went to Morgan Stanley. And then I went on my own and raised capital, took actually 12 companies public. And then at 37, I retired and came to Florida.
That's good work if you can get it.
Yeah, well, it's all in the sales, right? So that's why I tell people you got to always be selling.
Right.
And so Stratton was an interesting thing, and a great training ground. Matter of fact, I was writing the pitches for the room that all the brokers were using. If you saw the movie where they were all on the phone,
mm-hmm.
Well, I wrote those scripts.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
that's fascinating.
Oh yeah. Well, like I say, I'm a pretty good. I pick up things pretty quickly, and it was a lot of fun. It was. But anyway, so I wrote my book because I knew the movie was coming out. So I timed it. So when the movie came out, I had a book ready to be. So I did it myself. It sold real well, and then I got a deal, a book. And then that first book didn't do too well with the publishing house. And then I wrote a couple, but I learned a lot there as well because again, I wasn't a professional writer at the time. I was writing the stories of Stratton and the things that I did after I left Stratton. And a lot of them were kind of funny. I try to keep it humorous.
Right.
But, I mean, on that side of the business, there's a ton of money to be made. Right. So, you take a company public, you can make, $100 million if you have a good company.
Yeah.
But anyway, sure. So then I wrote that book and I got the detective, but the two books that have won awards for me, I wrote a book called Checkmate, which is out now, and that got a lot of sales. And I wrote a book, The Making of a God, which won a couple of awards in Europe. So
and what's that?
it's basically about two guys who start a religion, and they do it for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
But then one of them actually thinks he's a prophet, and it interweaves a lot of different things throughout the book. How people are easily manipulated, good salesmen, right? And
wow.
and then the ending is what really wowed people over. How I end the book, and then Checkmate's about.
We can't spoiler alert, is what you're saying. That's a
yeah. I mean, you have to read it to understand it, and there's a lot of biblical things in the book, which people pick up on it by the end of the book. And then the other one was Checkmate, with about two super geniuses, and one guy, they're both chess masters, and one guy thinks the other guy had a part in the death of his wife. So he has to think about how to make the perfect murder. Right? How do I kill somebody in front of everybody where I'm not the suspect? And then I've tried to make chess interesting, right?
Right. That sounds fascinating too. A fascinating twist on the game for sure.
Yeah. So, I was able to write 400 pages on how he thinks and how he's going to go about killing this guy.
Wow. Well, were these works indie published, or did you?
Yeah. 8 of them are indie, and 3 of them were, published.
Oh.
So.
Wow. I tell you what, that's a prolific amount of work, and some of them sound fascinating for sure. And well, do you have anything else going on? I know I was reading on your bio, and yeah, you're a good businessman, Michael. That's for sure. Not only helping indie artists and but other thing. Anything else you want to plug? That's for sure.
Well, not really. I mean, I don't plug too much. My books, they sell because I got a good following. Some of the books that I thought were really good don't sell, right? I had one where basically a city up in New York, and all my books take places in different spots, but this was upstate New York, old shoe factory taken over by 2 guys. They make it a school for troubled kids, troubled teens. There's procession, and then there's 2 murders that go throughout the story. And, they buy a farm and they teach these kids how to farm, and the economy picks up, and they open up fruit stands and vegetable stands. And at the end of the book, you find out that the 2 guys are basically taking these wayward kids, drugging them to do the work. And the ones that were cooperative, they throw into a wood chipper and use them as fertilizer for the field. So I thought it was kind of a pretty cool book. A lot of people didn't. So I don't know, right? But Checkmate, The Making of a God, they still sell. My autobiography, I still sell. I still 3 times a year give speeches at different financial symposiums on how to go public and the value. So I stay a little bit busy. I got 2 new books coming out next year. So.
Oh, awesome! And please forward them to us so we can talk about them, or come back on the show when you get them.
Digital copies. Just give me your email address. I'll send you the digital copies.
Awesome! Yeah, because I'd love to have you back on when they launch, and you could talk about them, because some of your stories are
yeah, no, a lot of the stories are kind of interesting, especially on the Stratton side and on that type of thing, because all kinds of wacky things happen.
And I think a lot of people are interested now what's going on in the world of high finance as they look on the web and see what's going on around the world economically, and they're starting to get bits and pieces of knowledge of how deep financial infrastructure goes, you know.
Right. And most people have no clue what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, I've taken, like I said, 14 public and helped with another 40 other people's companies. And, what goes into it is because it's second nature to me, but a lot of people are fascinated by the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, and they don't really understand it. How 95% of it is just, crooked.
Right, right. And I think that's, more than likely, if anything else is any indication in the world of news and finances, people are interested in that aspect of it, the seedy underbelly of.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just don't want to know, right? Because everybody has this holier than thou attitude that, oh, I wouldn't, and most of these companies are not, like there's a company coming out, I think it's called Shields. It's going public next week, right? They use child labor in China to make knockoff clothes, basically. And they sell, a men's suit for $40. But people buy them because they're looking just to save money and not worrying about the ramifications of what that company actually represents.
Yeah,
so it's just a whole different wacky world.
And it sounds like it's fascinating. And yeah, I'm telling you, some of your books, the viewers of the show, look, go check out Michael. He's available on Amazon. There's some great books talk about the subject we were just talking about, and also some great stories. Those detective series sound fun,
yeah,
for sure.
The text series, and one of my weaknesses sometimes developing characters, right? So in the detective series, to overcome that, all those people whose pictures you see on the book covers and in the back are people I've known, I've grown up with. They're all my old friends.
Oh, really?
So, but if I know you, I could develop the character a lot easier, and I could, write the character as I know who you are versus just some character.
So I take it just from some of the work that you're the, I take it you're the tough, gritty detective.
Yeah. Yeah. In the book, I have hair, but, but yeah, I'm the lead detective, and now I'm writing one that's a prequel.
Oh, really?
So when we're teenagers, and we actually solve our first case.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to checking some of them out. That's for sure. Well, do you have? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, those are easy reads. Those are fun books. A couple hundred pages, and people enjoy them. Like some of the books, like Checkmate. That's more in depth. It's more a drama where you have to pay attention, because even in the detective books, I tell you who killed a guy in the first or second chapter, but nobody picks up on it until I have to explain it at the end when the Detective Dell is going through how he solved the case.
Oh, no. Oh,
I throw the clues in there, and if you're perceptive, you'll figure it out sooner than later. But most people don't.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. Well, I tell you, Michael, I really appreciate it. If you have any advice for indie authors out there, you want to throw to them?
Right, man. I mean, yeah, the whole key is just to write, right? I'm a little different because I wasn't a trained author, even though now I'm 100% better than I was even when I wrote my autobiography. But it's just keep writing, man. You got to just keep writing. There's certain little things, like one of the things, try to make sure that you don't keep using the same words over and over. don't start paragraphs with the, just little things. Keep it interesting, keep it moving. You know, um,
But
the
that's it.
novels are tougher, right? Because they're longer. And the way I do it is a little different. Like, Stephen King, right? The author.
Right.
He
Who?
lives here.
Who? I don't know.
So I've gotten to know him not well, but I've met him a bunch of times because he lives here in Sarasota, and so I've given him a couple of my books, and his wife paid me a con. He didn't, but his wife paid me a compliment. So.
Hey, that's a story to tell. That's for sure. Well, no, and that
Yeah,
is great
no,
advice because I've having done interviews a couple of times on other shows for some of my work, with audiobook narration and that. It is when you're asked that question, any advice, it's yeah, right, please, right, get
exactly.
what you have to say out on paper because editing's gonna come no matter what.
Right,
Knock it
and that's
out.
the other thing, right? The editing, and if you get an editor, you're going to be edited 3, 4, 5, 7 times,
No,
right? Because the
sure.
first time is for the basic mistakes. The second time is more sentence structure and things of that nature. And when you working for a publishing house, they're even going to be stricter, right? They're going to tell you to rearrange this, change this, and that's where when I first signed, that was my problem. They'd say, "All right, I need this changed by tomorrow." I'm like, "Dude, man, I'll get to it by next week or something." But
Right,
you
right.
know, it
That's
was different, but a great learning experience, and so I enjoyed it, somewhat. But
wow.
yeah, and everybody has a different style, right? Um, a lot of people will write, you know, I'm going to have 20 chapters, and then they go down the list and just put the idea of each chapter. Some people write the story from the, as they're writing, they decide where to go. With me, I write the story and then I break it up into the chapters, and then you fill out the chapters.
Yeah,
So
fill in the
I
gaps, right?
so right, so I'll write the story in 2 days. I'll put down 15,000 words, but sometimes it may take you a year before you finish it, right? So if that makes sense,
Oh yeah,
because you got to
absolutely.
expand it. So that's how I do it. So, and
Ah,
then if you decide to add something, like I'm working on a book that I've been working on for about 6 years. Um, it's just I don't know how to end it because I keep coming up with better ways to murder people,
uh,
and and so I keep adding it. So believe it or not, I mean I'm up to about 650 pages, which is already too long. Nobody will publish it at all,
I like
but
that. I keep coming up with better ways to kill people.
well, yeah, and better ways to hide the way you kill people,
Right.
right? So not only do you want to murder them, but you want to make sure you don't get caught.
That's
And
that's
then
it.
I also add that you want to make sure the evidence points to somebody else, which ensures you won't get caught.
Right.
And so I have a murderer who's killed a bunch of people, and he got upset because the papers gave him a nickname he didn't like. So he had to kill a couple more people, so they changed the nickname. I know it sounds creepy, but it is what it is. So,
Sounds like a
you know,
fascinating story to me. I'm telling you.
yeah, but like I say, it's way too long, and nobody would publish it,
Uh,
right? Because a lot of these publishers worry about length, and they have definitive amount of words they want for like a novel. They don't want it to be more than 150,000 words, right? So, I so you got to try to stay within these boundaries sometimes, right? The books they want it no more than 80,000 words. So this one I think is close to 400,000 words. they But again, I just keep coming up with things, and I mean, I wrote a book which
That's
I
what
thought was
indie.
pretty cool.
That's what indie publishing's for. Knock that long book out. I want to read it.
Yeah, no, it'll get done. It'll probably be like 1,000 pages, but like a War and Peace, where halfway through you wish you never picked it up. But, but I mean, I wrote one book which was about a case of mistaken identity, and then he accidentally, to get away from these guys over a 3-week period, winds up killing about 15 people, all by accident. But as he's trying to escape. So, and then there's a bizarre twist at the end, which people seem to like, which caused a lot of commentary, so to speak.
Oh, well, that's something. I'm telling you, we're gonna have to check it out. And ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I tell you, you have to. Michael's a great fellow. Having gotten to know him, he is. He's not only a prolific writer, but with a sense of humor and a sense of the macabre sometimes. Hey, that's
yeah, which is kind of bizarre, right? Because I'm not, I've never murdered anybody. It's just other than my autobiography, there's a murder in all my books for some reason. But people like to read about that stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I think
don't like the mushy stuff. I mean, I'm not that flowery writer that, we went through the walk in the woods and the flowers are blooming and the stars are above us and blah 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 blah. It's not really, and I am trying to actually write a book in Shakespearean, right? So to make it sound like it was a Shakespeare, and that's really difficult.
Oh, well, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to you. Yeah, promises you'll come back on the show when you get the next two going.
No problem.
We'd love to have you. And ladies and gentlemen in the audience, look at the top of the screen there. Michael's available. Yeah, there you go. At the top of the screen, look, Michael's available on Amazon. All the books we've talked about. That QR code take you straight to the site. Definitely, please go check out Michael's work. And before we close, Mike, if you could, please tell everybody on in our audience that might be interested how to get a hold of you if they're interested in Sunset Island Cafe TV.
Yeah, just go to sunsetilandcafe.com. If you want to send us your videos, there's a spot, you put them in and send them to us. Like I said, we listen to them all. We put them all up on the streaming site. If we like them enough, they go on our radio show. We do a show every year. I think this year we'll be doing something. I believe it's going to be in, I really don't remember where it's going to be. We were talking about it the other day, but somewhere out west. We've done this coast. We won't do California just because it's too restrictive. But we may do Vegas this year. So,
gotcha.
Wow.
And they can get a hold of you right on your site through the contact link.
Right.
That's
and I also have another company. I'm president of a nanotech technology company, so you can check out cornerstone-spectrum.com. We have again, I'm not the scientist, but we have a COVID detection system. So, within 3 seconds, you'll know if somebody has COVID or any tuberculosis, any transmittable airborne pathogen.
Well, that definitely sounds like.
It's amazing.
It sounds timely.
Well, our chief scientist actually created the COVID test you use now, where you swab it.
Right.
So he created that. This is the next generation where you don't need to swab. I mean, you just blow and literally within a second and a half, you'll know if you got something.
Oh, well, golly. Well, I tell you what, Michael, you're all over the board, buddy.
Hey, listen, man, it's what I do. And part of, when you took all these companies public, you make a lot of connections. Well, that's why I was telling you, I was in New Orleans about I was actually at Lake Charles. You know where Lake Charles is, right?
Right,
So I
right.
was there because uh, a friend of mine has created a new way to remove sulfur from oil. So there's refineries there, but that's where they wanted to meet. So I was in New Orleans for a couple of days because I hate just traveling for business. I like to get in some sightseeing and whatnot.
I,
So I
I,
was there,
I can
and
empathize.
right. So I was there doing some business in Lake Charles, which is not my favorite place, but it's a place. Um, and so removing sulfur from oil is a big, big deal. It's a $1 billion industry, and they have a new technology that could literally change the industry. So people hire me to go and speak for them, and so we liked it so much we actually merged that company into our company.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, people have. I, I tell you, I know how to sell stuff. So
That's it.
yeah, so this is it's incredible stuff. I mean, it's all based on this nanotechnology, which is you know becoming extremely popular because of what it could do.
Yeah, I can
Um,
imagine. Jeez, Louise. Well, yeah, Michael, if you're ever back this way, drinks are on me.
there you go.
Just reach out.
I could handle that.
Well, Michael, I certainly appreciate it, and I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, again, please go check out. If you're an indie band and artist and want to reach out to Sunset Island Cafe TV at their website, please, by all means, Michael's doing great work helping unsigned bands get their work out there and stream it across the world. And of course, if and again, check out all his great work that we talked about on Amazon. Uh, that's some good work, that's for sure. But Michael, I certainly appreciate you for taking the time to come have a cocktail with me and tell everybody your interesting backstory and your work you have going on now.
Well, I appreciate it, and yeah, just send in the music, and or if you have any other questions, feel free. I always get back to everybody. So
Oh,
uh,
awesome. Well, man, Michael, I look forward to seeing you again. Hopefully, if you want to come back on the show, just DM me. I'm available. That's for sure.
sounds good. All right, listen. Have a great night, everybody, and have a very merry, happy, and holy Christmas.
That's it. Michael, cheers to you,
Cheers.
sir.
Cheers.
Oh, wow, ladies and gentlemen, that was fun. Look, again, we're going to keep bringing you these great people that help the world of indie authors, entertainers, and artists. And, by all means, again, like I said, please consider supporting the show so we can keep bringing everybody to you. Cheap cup of coffee just to support the show is great. And again, if you really want to get crazy supporting the show, check out our merch. I'm getting my cocktail cup and I'm getting me a ball cap because I gotta keep my grape covered. That's for sure. So, but ladies and gentlemen, it's been another great show, episode 6 in the can, and we're looking forward to tomorrow night's live stream where we're gonna have some cocktails and get to know author Jerry Glazer, who's a fellow veteran like me, and I'm so happy to have veterans on the show. And if you are a veteran artist, author, or entertainer and would like to come on, please DM me. We'll try to schedule something up. But tomorrow night we'll have Jerry Glazer, author of Vietnam Uncensored, and we'll talk about the war and his experiences. And I've actually had a talk with him before. Earlier in the week, and a fun guy too. So we're gonna have a great show tomorrow night, and I really again appreciate Michael Della Donna being our guest tonight. And we'll see you next time on Cocktails with Cav. Cheers.